Miracle in 48 hours. The Canadian wellspring in the Qatari desert. Qatar is in complete turmoil. If Canada fails to honor its contract, we will expel every Canadian from our nation permanently. This was the final, unyielding ultimatum from Qatar, the nation with the highest GDP per capita in the world. To everyone, Canada's promise seemed like empty words, destined for failure. But then, the unbelievable happened. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, the entire Middle East looked to Canada in awe. Please, help us, they pleaded. Even the technological titans, the United States and France, had declared the task utterly impossible. On the very land they had abandoned, how did Canada succeed in just 48 hours? The shocking secret is about to be revealed. My name is Hamad Al-Murshid. For the past 5 years, I've been a water resource manager living in the Al-Shamal district in northern Qatar. I am not royalty, nor am I rich, just an ordinary public servant. But my life is a living hell. Every morning at 4 a.m., I wake up before my alarm, gripped by the anxiety of a single question. Will I find water today? I have to. For my 10-year-old daughter, Nora, and my wife, Sarah, washing our faces is an unthinkable luxury. We can only pour a tiny amount of water into a cup, dip a towel in it, and wipe our faces. Brushing our teeth requires just one sip. A shower is a once-a-month privilege, and it cannot last longer than 5 minutes. Papa, I'm thirsty, Nora would whisper, her voice faint, her lips cracked and dry. 20 liters. That was the entire daily water allotment for our family, barely enough for drinking, and the most basic survival. The curse upon our land began 80 years ago. The subterranean rock layer here is unique, like a sponge that soaks up seawater. The deeper you drill a well, the more seawater floods in. I heard that in my grandfather's time, there was still fresh water here. My colleague Saeed sighed one day. They got greedy back then, drilled too deep, and breached the seawater table. Now, it's irreversible. Every Tuesday was water rationing day. We had to line up from 3 a.m. Even the water from the government's desalination plants had a salty taste, and even that wasn't enough. Often, we had to buy water on the black market for 50 Qatari rials a liter. This is more expensive than oil, I protested to the black market dealer. Last week it was 40 rials. Water is more valuable now. Don't like it? Don't buy it, he sneered. We had no choice. Half my monthly salary was spent on water. That very evening, Nora came home from school and collapsed. Noura! Noura! I called her name, but there was no response. Her face was pale, her lips a deathly blue. We called for an ambulance, but it took 40 agonizing minutes to reach the hospital. That wait felt like an eternity. Severe dehydration. We need to get her on an IV drip immediately, the doctor said, his face grim. She's not the only one. We've had over 20 dehydration cases today. If this continues, it will be catastrophic. In the hospital room, watching the saline drip into Nora's small arm, my heart broke. I couldn't even give my child a proper glass of water, and this was the result. Mr. Hamad, Director Khalid, my superior, walked into the room. The French company has pulled out. They tried for 6 months and gave up. Failed again, sir? Dozens of companies have tried and failed in our region. The Americans, the Germans, the Japanese, the Israelis. They all boasted of their superior technology, but our geology defeated them all. We are a cursed land, Director Khalid said with bitter resignation. Perhaps we should just give up and move. But I couldn't give up. This was my home. This was where Nora was born. That night, I climbed to the hospital roof and stared at the starless, empty sky. It was a mirror of our future. God, please give us water, I prayed. What have we done wrong? Why must these children suffer? Only the whisper of the wind answered my prayer. A week later, Nora was discharged, but the doctor's warning echoed in my ears. She might not survive another episode like this. She needs clean water, urgently. On the way home, an unexpected report came on the radio. It spoke of Saudi Arabia's Ha'il region, where a river had been created using Canadian technology. A land that had suffered from water scarcity for 60 years was now a thriving agricultural hub. Noura's eyes lit up. Papa, can we ask the Canadians to help us? My heart sank. I didn't want to give her false hope, to see her disappointed again. Noura, our land is different, much more difficult than Saudi Arabia's. But I didn't know then that a miracle was coming for us too, and it would arrive in a form more breathtaking than anyone could have imagined. After that day, news from Saudi Arabia's Ha'il region was constant. Every time we turned on the television, we saw it, the Ha'il River, created by Canada, a crystal-clear stream flowing through the desert. The image was surreal. In the heart of the barren landscape, pure water flowed. Children were playing in it, and farmers were irrigating their fields. Is that really Ha'il? My wife, Sarah, asked in amazement. Yes, the Ha'il we know. They were no better off than we are. In fact, we're a richer country, but now our situations are completely reversed. The office was buzzing with the same topic. Canada? My colleague Rashid scoffed. Isn't that the country famous for hockey and maple syrup? But they are experts in agriculture and resource management, Saeed interjected. Agriculture and hydrogeology are two different things, Rashid shot back. But the evidence is right there, I said, holding up an official report from the Saudi government. Production capacity, 1 million liters per day. Desalination rate, 99.9%. The Canadian company's name is clearly stated, AquaGen Solutions. A few days later, I was summoned to a high-level government meeting, chaired by the Minister of Water Resources himself. You are all aware of Saudi Arabia's success, the minister began, his expression severe. Do you know what our people are saying? They are asking if Qatar is inferior to Saudi Arabia. The room was silent. We all knew the uncomfortable truth. Weren't we the wealthier nation? Why could they succeed where we had failed? No one had an answer. The minister pointed at me. Hamad, you are in charge of Al-Shamal. What is your opinion? Mr. Minister, our geology is fundamentally different from Saudi Arabia's. Our rock strata. I don't want to hear excuses, the minister roared. Saudi Arabia failed for 60 years. Canada solved their problem. Why can't we do the same? The pressure on the drive home was immense. My superiors demanded results, and my people were crying for water. That night, as Noura did her homework, she asked, Papa, where is Canada? It's a country in North America, I said, showing her on a map. How big is it? Much bigger than Qatar. But compared to its neighbors, it's medium-sized. How can a country like that have such technology? I wondered the same thing. What was their secret? The next day brought shocking news. Director Khalid flew to Ha'il in Saudi Arabia, said whispered to me. He went to see it with his own eyes. He says it's real. That afternoon, I met with Director Khalid. His expression was a mixture of awe and disbelief. Hamad, I saw it myself. It's a true miracle. What was it like, sir? Incredible. There's a real river flowing through that barren land. Children are swimming in it. The director sighed. But you know what's even more astonishing? The Canadian team took only 2 weeks to pump the first batch of water. 2 weeks? Yes. Germany took 2 years, France took 1 year. And they both failed. He showed me a photograph of a Canadian technician standing with Saudi officials. That's the project lead there, Dr. Marcus Thorne. He looks like such an ordinary man. Yes, and the Saudis underestimated him at first. Now, they treat him like a hero. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was the minister's office. Mr. Hamad, the minister will see you tomorrow morning. A major decision will be made. Please be prepared. My heart pounded. Were we finally going to ask for Canada's help? When I got home, I told my family. Are they going to invite the Canadians? Noura's eyes sparkled. We don't know yet, sweetie, but Our geology is truly unique, much harder than Saudi Arabia's. The chance of failure is very high. Sarah took my hand. But we have to try, don't we? For Nura. That night, I couldn't sleep. Hope and fear battled within me. What if the Canadians failed too? Would our last hope be extinguished? I looked out the window. A full moon shone brightly. The same moon was shining over Ha'il, but there they could admire it without the gnawing worry of water. God, please give us a chance, I prayed silently. If Saudi Arabia can do it, we must do it. I tried to reassure myself, but a deep unease remained. I had a premonition that our national pride would be tested and that pride could lead us to a drastic choice. The next morning, when I entered the minister's office, there was an unexpected group of people present, not just senior government officials, but unfamiliar faces from North America. Hamad, this is the team from the Canadian company, Aquagen Solutions, the minister introduced. The team leader is Dr. Evelyn Reed. I was stunned. It was a woman. She had short hair, wore glasses, and looked to be in her early 40s. She was no taller than 160 centimeters, a very petite figure. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Evelyn Reed. She greeted us in flawless, unaccented Arabic. You speak Arabic? I asked, surprised. I studied for a year at the University of Cairo. It's essential if you want to understand Middle Eastern geology. From the first impression, she was different. Other foreign technicians only ever spoke English, relying on translators. The minister got straight to the point. Dr. Reed, do you understand our conditions? Yes. We have analyzed the geological data for the Al-Shamal district. And your assessment? Dr. Reed brought up a file on her tablet. To be blunt, it is 3 times more difficult than the Ha'il project in Saudi Arabia. The seawater intrusion is far too deep. A gloom fell over the Qatari officials. So, you are giving up? One asked. No, Dr. Reed smiled. I said it's difficult, not impossible. A region in Canada, Richmond in British Columbia, has a similar geology. We've already solved that problem there. How long do you think it will take? The minister pressed. Saudi Arabia took 2 weeks. Everyone in the room held their breath. 48 hours should be sufficient. What? The minister shot to his feet. 48 hours? It's more difficult than Saudi Arabia, but it will take less time? We've developed a new technology since then, she explained calmly. A fracture mapping system that is more precise and faster. One of the senior officials laughed scornfully. More empty words. They all start out this confident. When they fail, they run away. Dr. Reed's reply was cool and steady. Then let's make a wager. If we fail within 48 hours, we will cover all expenses and accept a 10-year ban from entering Qatar. The room began to murmur. But if we succeed, we expect to be paid our agreed fee, and we demand your complete trust and cooperation. Skepticism and interference are a waste of time. The minister looked at me. Hamad, as the on-site manager, what do you think? Honestly, I was terrified. 48 hours was impossibly short. But I looked at the unwavering confidence in Dr. Reed's eyes. I think we should take the chance. Agreed. But with one condition, the minister said, looking directly at Dr. Reed. You must succeed within 48 hours. If you are even 1 minute late, you will be expelled immediately. Deal, Dr. Reed said without a moment's hesitation. After the meeting, we drove to the site. In the car, I asked her, 48 hours? Is that really possible? Mr. Hamad, she said, do you know what we learned in Saudi Arabia? What's that? That the timeline isn't determined by technology. It's determined by trust. The Saudis trusted us. The question is, will Qatar? It was a heavy question. When we arrived, the Canadian team began working immediately. As they unloaded their equipment, it was clear they had more than they'd used in Saudi Arabia. What is that? I asked, pointing to a large device. Subsurface penetrating radar, a team member explained. 10 times more accurate than the Japanese model. Made in Canada? Of course. We developed it ourselves, he said with pride. His name tag read, Leo Dubois. As they set up, the local villagers gathered. Another foreign team. Asians this time from very far away, one muttered. How many days will they last? The people's stares were piercing, filled with the sting of too many past disappointments. They didn't dare to hope anymore. Noura arrived after school. Papa, are those the Canadians? Yes, honey. Why are there so few of them? The other teams had dozens of people. Dr. Reed overheard Noura and walked over. Hello there. What's your name? Noura. That's a beautiful name. You know, Noura, a large team doesn't mean a better team. What matters is skill. Dr. Reed pulled something from her pocket. It was a maple leaf-shaped cookie. Try this. It's from my hometown in Canada. Thank you, Noura said, happily taking the treat. Ma'am, will our village really have water? Dr. Reed gently stroked Noura's head. Just wait 48 hours. I promise I will make sure you can drink clean water. Hearing those words, my heart felt a surge of warmth, but also a deep sense of anxiety. Could it really be done in 48 hours? After sunset, the work officially began. The Canadian team was prepared to work through the night. Mr. Hamad, could you get us some karak chai, please? Dr. Reed asked. Of course. But even tea is precious here, because water is scarce. I know, she replied with a confident smile. Soon, we'll all be able to drink as much as we want. Her confidence was astonishing. Nothing had even started, yet she was certain of success. Dr. Reed, I said later, why did you say 48 hours? It's an incredible risk. She answered while checking her equipment. Mr. Hamad, sometimes desperation is the best motivator. The pressure of a 48-hour deadline will force us to be perfectly focused. And so, the first night began. I looked at my watch. It was 8 p.m. Exactly 48 hours remaining. The countdown to destiny had begun. The first 12 hours were spent on geological surveys. The equipment the Canadians brought worked non-stop. Around 3 a.m., Leo Dubois, the engineer, called me over. Mr. Hamad, come look at this. On the monitor was a complex graph. What is it? At a depth of 150 meters. Look here. There's a unique void. I looked closer. The color on the screen was different from the surrounding area. Could it be a freshwater aquifer? We're not sure yet, but it's a possibility. Dr. Reed walked over. She had been up all night but showed no signs of fatigue. Found it, just as I predicted. Predicted what, Doctor? The geology of Qatar isn't just a simple sponge. It's a labyrinth. And somewhere within that labyrinth, a pocket of fresh water has been trapped. It was an incredible insight, something we hadn't figured out in decades. She discovered in just 12 hours. But there's a problem, Leo said worriedly. The freshwater pocket is completely surrounded by seawater. One wrong move, and it will all be contaminated. Dr. Reed nodded. Which is why this requires the precision of surgery. Just then, a government inspector showed up. Found anything yet? He asked in an arrogant tone. We are still analyzing the data, I replied. 12 hours have passed, and this is all you have? I suspect another failure is on its way. The inspector laughed and walked away. The Canadian team's faces hardened. Pay him no mind, Dr. Reed encouraged them. Let's focus on our work. 6 hours later, they were creating a 3D map of the subterranean structure. It was a task that required perfect understanding of the underground maze. Brilliant, I couldn't help but exclaim. The 3D image on the screen was so detailed I could see the water currents within the labyrinthine rock. Mr. Hamad, do you have a map from 80 years ago? Dr. Reed asked. An 80-year-old map? Yes, we should have one. I retrieved a dusty old map from the archives. Dr. Reed compared it to her 3D model. Suddenly, her eyes lit up as if she'd discovered something. Of course! What is it? Look here. 80 years ago, this spot was an oasis. It must have had fresh water. Now it's just sunk underground, covered by a layer of seawater. But deep down, it must still be there. 18 hours had passed. They finally began drilling. But a group of government officials rushed to the site. "What are you doing? You can't just drill holes wherever you please." "This is a carefully planned operation," Dr. Reed replied calmly. "We need to review the documents first. Stop all work immediately," the official demanded. "You said you'd succeed in 48 hours, and now you want us to stop?" I argued. An argument broke out, and time was ticking away. I stepped forward. "As the on-site manager, I authorize this. If there's a problem, I will take full responsibility." "Hamad, can you handle that?" the official challenged. "I will sign a letter of guarantee." The officials reluctantly backed down. Dr. Reed gave me a grateful look. The drilling resumed. 50 meters, 100 meters. The deeper it went, the more tense the atmosphere became. "Wait! We've detected moisture at 120 meters!" Leo shouted. Everyone held their breath. They brought up a sample. A small amount of water was extracted. Dr. Reed tested it herself with a salinity meter. Salinity, 0.3%. Still brackish. We need to go deeper. Though we were disappointed, there was still hope. At least the salinity was much lower than seawater. 24 hours passed. Exactly half the time was gone. Still no clean water. The villagers began to gather. Another failure. I knew it. We are a cursed land. Negative murmurs spread through the crowd. But the Canadian team was unfazed. "Doctor, you should get some rest," a team member said with concern. Dr. Reed shook her head. "No, there's no time." Just then, Noura appeared, holding something. "Ma'am, please have this," she said, offering a small plate of dates she had made herself. "We don't have much water, so I couldn't make many, but I hope this gives you strength." Dr. Reed's eyes welled with tears. "Thank you, Noura. They look delicious." The Canadian team members shared the dates, and smiles appeared on their exhausted faces. "Just wait a little longer, Noura. I will make sure you get your clean water." Dr. Reed's promise made Noura smile brightly. 30 hours passed. Finally, there was a change. "The salinity is dropping steadily," Leo yelled excitedly. 0.1%. 0.05%. We were close. Everyone gathered around the monitor. Every time the number dropped, a cheer went up. But then, a new problem. "Doctor, the seawater pressure is too high. If we don't install a barrier," "I know. But we only have 18 hours left. Installing a standard barrier takes at least 12 hours. "We can do it," Dr. Reed said firmly. "With the new technology we developed, the rapid set barrier, another incredible technology." What else had these people prepared? Suddenly, my phone rang. "Hamad, it's the minister. What's the situation?" "We're close to a breakthrough, sir. But we're running out of time. If you fail, you're finished too. You know that, right?" The pressure was immense, but strangely, I wasn't afraid. Watching the Canadian team, I was convinced they were different. They would succeed. It was 10 p.m. 30 hours had passed since they started. 18 hours remained. The Canadian team moved with astounding speed. Barrier components ready. Commencing rapid set injection. This new technology was incredible. They injected a special polymer that reacted with the seawater in the rock fractures and hardened almost instantly. "How is that possible?" I asked. "It's a technology we co-developed with Canada's National Research Council over 5 years. When it comes into contact with the salinity of seawater, it cures completely in 10 minutes, Leo explained with pride. By 2 a.m., they had reached the 150-meter level. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the result. Starting the pressure test, Dr. Reed announced, opening the valve herself. At first, nothing came out. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Then, A drop of clear water began to form. "There's water!" someone shouted. "Doctor." Reed caught the drops in her trembling hands and placed them on the salinity meter. 0.01%. 0.01%. Pure, fresh water. A massive cheer erupted. But Dr. Reed remained calm. "Not yet. We need to confirm it's a sustainable flow." 3 hours later, they measured the flow rate. It was astonishing. The volume of water increased with time. 2,000 liters per hour, 3,000 liters, 5,000 liters. The numbers were unbelievable. "How?" I asked. "It's the pressure differential. The barrier is holding back the seawater, so the natural pressure of the freshwater aquifer is pushing the water up on its own." At 5 a.m., it was time for the first taste test. I was the first to drink. I raised the glass with a shaky hand and took a sip. Sweet. It was truly sweet. It was the first clean water I had tasted from this land in my entire life. I wept. "Nora! Nora, where are you?" I woke up my sleeping daughter. Still groggy, she followed me. When she saw the water, her eyes widened. "Papa, is that real water?" "Yes, my love. Drink." Nora drank carefully. "Papa, it's sweet. It's really sweet." She jumped for joy. Seeing her so happy, I felt all our hardships had been worth it. The news spread to the villagers. Even though it was dawn, they began to gather. "Is it true? Do we really have water?" For the first time in 80 years, an old man drank the water and cried, "This is the taste of the water I drank as a child." God has answered our prayers. But the moment of joy was short-lived. Another problem arose. The government inspectors arrived again. "What is this? Who authorized you to distribute this water haphazardly?" "There is clean water. The people should be allowed to drink it," I argued. "It hasn't been tested. If there's a problem, will you take responsibility?" They wanted to cordon off the area. "No," Dr. Reed stepped forward. "This water is perfectly safe. I guarantee it." "And who are you to make such a guarantee?" "I am a certified water safety inspector for the World Health Organization," Dr. Reed said, presenting her credentials. The inspectors were taken aback. Even so, procedure is procedure. "Are you going to talk about procedure in front of people who have been thirsty for 80 years? Dr. Reed's voice was powerful. Water belongs to the people. No one can stand in their way. Finally, the inspectors retreated. At 8 a.m., the minister himself arrived at the site. His expression was complex. "Did you really succeed?" "See for yourself, Mr. Minister." The minister drank the water. His eyes widened. "This is water from our own land?" "Yes, sir. And it's a limitless supply." "Limitless?" Dr. Reed showed him the data. "This aquifer is massive. If managed properly, it can supply all of Al-Shamal." The minister was speechless for a moment. Then he said, "I apologize for doubting you. I am truly sorry." It was the first time I had ever seen a high-ranking official bow his head. "It's all right," Dr. Reed said. "What matters is what happens next." She looked at her watch. 36 hours had passed. 12 hours remained. "What's next?" I asked. "We need to stabilize the system and prepare for expansion." Then Dr. Reed looked at Nura. "I kept my promise. From now on, you'll be able to drink clean water every day." Nora ran and hugged Dr. Reed. "Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Canada is the best." Suddenly, my phone rang. It was my wife. "Darling, I saw the news. Does our village really have water?" "Yes. From now on, we don't have to worry about water anymore." "How is that possible?" My wife began to cry. That afternoon, something amazing happened. The villagers came out on their own. "We will help too. We can't let the Canadians do all the hard work." The men helped carry equipment, and the women prepared food. "This is my family's heirloom," an elderly woman said, bringing forward an old water jug. "It's 100 years old. Now, I want to finally fill it with real water. Doctor, Reed filled the jug for her herself. Ma'am, from now on, you will be able to drink water like this every day. God sent you to us. Thank you. That afternoon, something even more unbelievable occurred. Doctor, the flow rate is continuing to increase. How much? Overdue, 0 liters per hour. Everyone was astonished. It was 5 times more than we had anticipated. The underground structure is more complex than we thought. It seems several freshwater aquifers are interconnected, Leo explained excitedly. At 6 p.m., 46 hours after they began, the media descended on the site, from Qatar's state television to Al Jazeera. How did you succeed in 48 hours? Qatar's conditions are worse than Saudi Arabia's, yet it took less time. Dr. Reed gave an interview. Technology is important, but what's more important are the people. It was possible because the people of Qatar trusted us and helped us. What are your future plans? We want to spread this technology throughout Qatar so that no one has to suffer from water scarcity again. At 8 p.m., exactly 48 hours had passed. The minister made an official announcement. The Canadian technicians have fulfilled their promise. No, they have exceeded their promise. The thousands of people gathered in the main square roared. Canada! 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 The chant echoed through the night. Dr. Reed's team, though exhausted, looked happy. I guess you can finally get some sleep now, I said. Not yet, Dr. Reed laughed. This is just the beginning. The real work starts now. That night, for the first time in my 45 years of life, I took a long, hot shower. As the water streamed over me, I thought, miracles do exist. And this miracle came from Canada. The joy of success was short-lived. 2 days later, an unexpected attack began. It's a fake. The Canadians are tricking us. The criticism erupted during a meeting of local tribal leaders, instigated by the influential Sheikh Rashid Al Maktoum. Think about it. Something that couldn't be done in 80 years was done in 48 hours? Does that make sense? But the water is real. It's flowing now, I countered. That's a trick. They secretly hid a freshwater reserve beforehand and are just showing it to us now. Though it was absurd, some people were swayed. Yes, it was good at first in Saudi Arabia too, but then problems started. The Canadians must be after our underground resources. Rumors began to spread. I went to see Dr. Reed. There are rumors like this circulating. How will you handle it? I expected this, she said with surprising calm. It's natural to fear something new. But if that's the case, we'll prove it with data. We will make everything transparent. The next day, Dr. Reed made a bold decision. She installed a real-time monitoring system so everyone could see the data 24/7. You don't have to go that far, I said. Trust is paramount, she replied. We must prove we have nothing to hide. A large screen was set up in the village square, displaying the water quality and flow rate in real time. But Al Maktoum wouldn't back down. The numbers can be faked. We need to inspect it directly. He incited the tribesmen to demand an inspection of the facility. Dr. Reed accepted. Come any time. See and verify with your own eyes. The inspection committee arrived, led by Al Maktoum himself with 30 of his men. We will inspect every nook and cranny. The Canadian team opened everything to them, even showing them the technical blueprints. This is the design for the polymer barrier, Leo explained. But Al Maktoum wasn't listening. So complicated, you're trying to deceive us. Suddenly, Noura appeared. Uncle, why are you doing this? The water is real. Child, step aside, Al Maktoum snapped. Noura started to sob. My mother cooked with clean water for the first time. She said it was the first time in 80 years. But why? Don't be fooled by their tricks, Al Maktoum remained stubborn. Just then, Dr. Reed stepped forward. Mr. Al Maktoum, what are you really afraid of? What? Do you really think the water is fake? Or are you afraid of something else? It was a sharp question. What is there to be afraid of? Change, perhaps? The order that has existed for 80 years is about to change. It hit a nerve. Al Maktoum was one of the men who had used the water crisis to maintain his power. What do you know? I know that my own country, Canada, has faced similar challenges, Dr. Reed said calmly. But only by embracing change can true progress begin. The atmosphere grew tense. Al Maktoum's followers threatened the Canadian team. Get out, you swindlers! Suddenly, an incredible thing happened. The village elder, 5-year-old Grandpa Hassan, appeared. Al Maktoum, that's enough. I've seen everything. Elder, you've been fooled too. I've lived for almost a century. Do you think I can't tell the difference between real and fake? Grandpa Hassan slowly walked to the water source and took a drink. This is real. This is the water I drank as a child. Then he looked straight at Al Maktoum. And I know all about how you've been monopolizing the water trade to make a fortune. It's time to stop. The declaration was like a bombshell. Al Maktoum's face turned crimson. What are you talking about? Half the black market water profits go into your pocket. You think I don't know? That's why you're so afraid of this water being real, because your business is about to end. The crowd erupted in murmurs. So he was tricking us all along, profiting from our suffering. Al Maktoum and his followers were driven out of the village. That night, I received a call from the government. Mr. Hamad, the minister needs to see you immediately. When I arrived, there was another surprise. A special envoy from the emir was there. His Highness the Emir is personally interested in this matter. His Highness himself? He will be visiting the site tomorrow, in person. It was breathtaking news. The head of state was coming. I told the Canadian team they would be receiving the highest honors. Late that night, I informed Dr. Reed. The Emir is coming tomorrow. It is a great honor, she said. Aren't you nervous? Why should I be? We simply did what we were supposed to do. She was truly a remarkable person. The next morning, another crisis. Doctor, there's a problem with the system. Leo came running. What is it? Someone tampered with the equipment last night. It had to be Al Maktoum's doing. The emir was on his way. What were we going to do? Can you fix it? It will take time. The Canadian team mobilized all their resources, working feverishly for 4 hours. They finished just as the emir arrived with a large entourage. The atmosphere was tense. This is the Canadian team? The emir asked. Yes, Your Highness. The emir walked up to Dr. Reed. I hear you created a miracle in 48 hours. We were honored to assist, Your Highness. Just then, the newly repaired system roared to life and water gushed out. The timing was perfect. The emir drank the water himself. Astonishing, truly pure. He then shook Dr. Reed's hand. On behalf of the people of Qatar, I thank you for your help. It is our honor, Your Highness. The emir then made an announcement. From this day forward, I hereby declare Canada to be Qatar's strategic partner in water technology. It was a historic moment. That night, news came that Al Maktoum had been arrested for sabotage. It felt like justice had been served. Mr. Hamad, Dr. Reed called to me. Starting tomorrow, the real work begins. Are you ready to change all of Qatar? Absolutely, I said, my heart soaring with hope. A new era was truly beginning. After the emir's visit, things changed rapidly. The government pledged its full support, using Al Shamal as a pilot zone to launch a massive expansion project. But 1 week later, we faced an unthinkable crisis. At 3 a.m., I received an urgent call. Mr. Hamad, it's terrible. It was Leo's panicked voice. What happened? Equipment failure. The main pump has shut down. My heart stopped. If the core of the system failed, the water supply could be cut off completely. When I arrived, the situation was dire. Not a single drop of water was flowing. The villagers were in a panic. Dr. Reed was conducting an emergency inspection. What is it? There's a foreign object in the pump. It looks like it was deliberately placed there. It was the worst-case scenario. What do we do? If we can't fix it in 36 hours, we'll have to replace the whole system. That could take months. Another race against time. 36 hours. What do you need? Replacement parts and… Dr. Reed hesitated. We need help from the locals, people who understand our systems. But the villagers were in despair. It failed after all. The Canadians couldn't do it. I told you, we are a cursed land. I ran to the village hall. Everyone, it's not over yet. What's not over? Trust the Canadian team. They can fix it in 36 hours, but they need our help. What can we do? Suddenly, Nura stepped forward. I will help. Doctor, Reed hasn't given up on us, so we can't give up either. The courage of a 10-year-old girl shamed the adults. Even a child is willing to fight. How can we give up? Yes, let's give it a try. Volunteers started coming forward, one by one. The Canadian team and the villagers began to work together. Hand me that part. Here are the tools. They spoke different languages, but their hearts were united. 12 hours later, we hit our first obstacle. Doctor, the damage is worse than we thought. We don't have enough spare parts. What now? Dr. Reed thought for a moment, then made an incredible decision. We'll fabricate new ones, using local materials. Local materials? Is that possible? Qatar is an industrial country. There must be something we can use. A villager stepped forward. I run a steel fabrication shop. Tell me what you need. Another said, I've been a machinist for 30 years. I can help. It was amazing. The skill of the Qatari technicians was superb. They collaborated with the Canadian team and managed to create the necessary parts just in time. 20 hours later, Dr. Reed found something. Here it is. This is the cause of the problem. A piece of metal scrap was lodged deep inside the pump. It was clearly deliberate sabotage. The last gasp of Al Maktoum's network. But we've won. Now we just have to reassemble it. Everyone worked together to put the pump back together. 24 hours later, let's try a restart. Everyone stood back. Leo flipped the switch. The motor whirred to life. We held our breath. 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2 minutes. There's water! Water gushed out, with even more pressure than before. We did it! Cheers erupted. People hugged, cried, and laughed. This repair actually made the system stronger, Leo explained excitedly. We might be able to produce over 200,000 liters a day now. An unbelievable outcome. 30 hours later, the government inspection committee arrived. The signs of sabotage were clear. We must catch the perpetrators. More importantly, Dr. Reed said, this has proven that when Canada and Qatar work together, we can overcome any crisis. The head of the committee nodded. Yes. We will now push the nationwide expansion project forward with even greater strength. That night, the village held a celebration. We did it! Long live Canada-Qatar friendship. Grandpa Hassan gave a speech. Today, we learned another lesson. Crisis builds a stronger unity. The next day, there was incredible news. The government announced the establishment of the Canada-Qatar Joint Technology Research Institute right here in Al-Shamal. The whole village was ecstatic. A research institute means jobs. Our young people will come back. Dr. Reed spoke to me. Mr. Hamad, would you be interested in the position of deputy director? Me? We need someone with field experience who can be a bridge between our two countries. It was a dream offer. A week later, it was time for Dr. Reed and her team to return to Canada. Hundreds of people gathered at the airport. Please come back soon. My daughter says she has to study in Canada now. During the farewells, Noura ran forward. Ma'am, please take this. It was a hand-drawn picture of a blue desert, created by the hands of Canadians and Qataris working together, along with a letter. Thank you, Noura. You must become a brilliant scientist. I will. I want to be just like you. As I watched their plane take off, I thought, the 36-hour crisis only made us stronger, and the real miracle has just begun. The 36-hour battle was over. With the system stabilized, Dr. Reed's team used the final 12 hours of their original 48-hour promise to do something incredible. Now, for the real gift, Dr. Reed said with a smile, we were back at the site. What else have you prepared? A smart water management system. It will be the first of its kind in Qatar. The additional equipment the Canadian team had brought was installed: solar panels, automated sensors, a remote control system. What is all this? From now on, you can monitor the water status from your smartphone. Artificial intelligence will manage it automatically. It was the moment 21st century technology solved an 80-year-old problem. 45 hours passed. The system was complete. Now, try downloading the app. The villagers installed the app on their phones. They could see the water quality, volume, and system status in real time. Wow, this is really our village's water. Nora touched the screen in amazement. Nora, try pressing this button, Dr. Reed suggested. Nora pressed a button, and the fountain in the village square sprang to life. Wow, I did that! It was the first fountain in the village in 80 years. Children cheered and gathered around it. 46 hours passed. An even more amazing thing happened. This is a special gift, Leo said, bringing out a large box. What is it? A hydroponics kit. You can grow vegetables using only water. Agriculture in the desert. It was something we had never even dreamed of. You can grow tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers, Dr. Reed demonstrated. Just add a little nutrient solution to the water, plant the seeds, and in 2 weeks they'll sprout. In 2 months, you can harvest them. The villagers' eyes shone. We can eat vegetables we grew ourselves? Absolutely. From now on, Qatar can be an agricultural nation. 47 hours passed. They prepared for a final event. Mr. Hamad and all the villagers, Dr. Reed said into a microphone. We are about to witness a historic moment together. A large screen lit up, showing a map of Qatar. With the system we've built, we can run a simulation. Blue dots began to appear on the map. Each dot was an area where water could be supplied. 1 year, 50 locations. 3 years. The screen filled with blue. The entire nation of Qatar could have clean water. I could barely breathe. What I thought was impossible was unfolding right before my eyes. Suddenly, an urgent call came from the government. Mr. Hamad, the emir, wishes to have a video conference. The emir appeared on the large screen. My people and the technical team from Canada, listen closely. 48 hours ago, we were half in doubt, but now we have witnessed a miracle. His voice was filled with emotion. From this day forward, I hereby establish the Canada-Qatar Joint Water Technology Research Institute. It was a stunning announcement, and I invite Dr. Evelyn Reed to be its first advisor. Dr. Reed was shocked. Your Highness, Qatar needs you. Please, join us on this journey, the emir pleaded. The villagers chanted, please accept, stay with us. With tears in her eyes, Dr. Reed nodded. It would be my greatest honor, Your Highness. 47 hours and 45 minutes. 15 minutes remained. Dr. Reed prepared a small ceremony. We will place this bottle of water into a time capsule. On the clear bottle was written today's date. In 10 years, we will open it and see how far we've come. Noura raised her hand. I have something I want to put in too. She brought out a letter. It's a letter to my future self. I promise to become a water scientist. Other villagers brought mementos. A handful of dry earth, an old water jug, messages of hope. Just as the 48th hour struck, we buried the time capsule. What will this place look like in 10 years? Dr. Reed asked. It will be a green farm. The lake will be surrounded by parks. Everyone spoke of dreams that no longer seemed impossible. That night, a huge celebration was held. Al Jazeera broadcast it live. The 48-hour miracle, the legend created by Canada and Qatar. The world was watching. Dr. Reed's interview was aired. Technology is important, but the most important thing is people's trust. It was possible because the people of Qatar believed in us. And your future plans? To make Qatar the hub of water technology for the Middle East. Then she looked at Noura. And to nurture the next generation of scientists, they will create the real miracles. The celebration lasted until dawn. Traditional Canadian folk music blended with Qatari dances. Lamb and dates were on the same table. We toasted, not with wine, but with clean water, a luxury for 80 years. The next morning, an amazing sight appeared. Doctor, look at this, Leo called excitedly. Tiny green shoots were sprouting around the fountain. Where there is water, there is life, Dr. Reed said, moved. A week later, it was time for the Canadian team to leave. Thousands of people gathered at the airport. Don't go. When will you be back? The farewell was emotional. Dr. Reed took the microphone. We are leaving, but the technology and our friendship remain. She looked at Noura. We'll see each other again soon. At the Research Institute. The people waved until the plane disappeared from sight. Thank you. Thank you. After that day, Al-Shamal was completely transformed. 150,000 liters of clean water flowed every day. Hydroponic farms were built. Children played happily in the water. But the biggest change was in the hearts of the people. They had learned that nothing is impossible, and they had learned the true power of cooperation. The 48-hour miracle had become an eternal legacy. 6 months passed. My morning now began by looking at an unbelievable sight. Al-Shamal, seen from my window, was no longer a dry desert. There was green everywhere. The laughter of children was constant. Papa, today at school we have a hydroponics lab, Noura said, leaving excitedly with her backpack. The child who had collapsed from dehydration 6 months ago now ran around full of life. The school had changed completely. A new science lab, funded by the Canadian government, had been built. Every week, there was a virtual class with teachers from Canada. Today, we're going to learn about the water cycle, Professor Smith from Toronto began. Noura sat in the front row, her eyes sparkling with concentration. On my way to my government office, I saw another incredible change. The first hydroponic farm was about to have its first harvest. Inside the clear plastic greenhouses were rows of ripe tomatoes, cucumbers, and lettuce. Hamad, look. Harim, the farm's owner, showed me a tomato with pride. We grew this ourselves, a tomato grown in the desert. I took a bite. It was sweet and juicy. I can't believe we grew this, Harim said, his eyes tearing up. At the office, there was a major meeting to review the progress of the nationwide expansion. To date, systems had been installed in 15 areas. Within 6 months, the entire northern region of Qatar was free from water scarcity. And the Canada-Qatar Joint Research Institute? It will open next week. Dr. Reed is coming herself. Then, more good news. Kuwait and Bahrain have requested official visits. They want to learn from our success story. Qatar had become a model. It felt like a dream. During my lunch break, the village square had a new look. A cafe had opened around the fountain. People were sipping tea and chatting. Before, a single drop of water was precious. Now we're drinking herbal tea while watching a fountain. This must be what paradise is like. It was a happiness 80 years in the making. That afternoon, a special guest arrived. Hamad, long time no see. It was Ali Al Saud, a friend from Saudi Arabia. He was the manager of the Ha'il region. I've come to learn the secrets of your success. Qatar is ahead of us now. That's smart system. We don't have that yet. I felt a surge of pride. I also visited the new industrial zone. Canadian companies had started to invest, drawn by the stable water supply. This has created 300 new jobs, the head of economic development explained. Young people no longer have to leave their homes. In the evening, Noura's school had a presentation, The Miracle of Our Village. Noura took the stage. 6 months ago, I collapsed from dehydration, she began, speaking with confidence. The Canadian teachers taught us not just about technology, but about having a heart that never gives up. At the end of her presentation, Noura said thank you in English with a charming accent. When I got home, my wife had prepared a special dinner. What's the occasion? Did you forget our wedding anniversary? I had. Worrying about water had made me forget the small joys of life. And look at this. My wife showed me a pot with a small flower blooming in it. The first flower grown in our home. A flower that bloomed for the first time in 80 years. After dinner, our family went for a walk along the newly created Riverwalk. Even though it was an artificial river, the water flowed like a real one. Papa, can we swim here? Noura asked. Not yet, but soon there will be a swimming pool. Really? Wow! Noura ran ahead excitedly. My phone rang. It was Dr. Reed. Mr. Hamad, how are you? Doctor, it's so good to hear your voice. I'm coming next week, but I have some special news. Noura applied for a science camp in Canada, and she's been accepted. I was stunned. Really? A 2-week science program, all expenses paid. When I told Noura, she jumped for joy. I'm really going to Canada? Will I see Dr. Reed? Can I see the University of Toronto? That night, before bed, Noura told me, Papa, I have a dream now. I want to study in Canada, become the best water scientist in the world, and then I want to help countries in need, like in Africa. It was a huge dream for a 10-year-old girl. You can do it, Noura. I believe in you. I looked out the window at the sky full of stars. The same sky I used to look at with resentment now seemed full of hope. I scrolled through photos on my phone from 6 months ago. Parched earth, cracked lips, hopeless faces. I compared them to photos from today, green fields, smiling faces, flowing water. Miracles are real, I whispered to myself. My alarm went off. Tomorrow morning, I had a meeting on the expansion plan for southern Qatar. It was time to share what we had learned with others. Before sleeping, I looked out the window one last time. The fountain shot up towards the sky. The drops of water, sparkling in the moonlight, looked like stars. It was a sight I couldn't have imagined 6 months ago. And this was just the beginning. The real miracle was about to unfold. 3 years later, I had become the Deputy Minister of Water Resources for Qatar. Outside my window, I saw the transformed Doha skyline. Deputy Minister, Miss Noura has arrived, my assistant announced. A poised, confident 13-year-old Noura walked in. She had just returned from an exchange program at a prestigious science school in Canada. Uncle Deputy Minister, she greeted me playfully. How was Canada? It was amazing. Look at my certificate. She had won first prize in the National Youth Science Fair for a new water purification technology. The judges were amazed a middle school student could come up with such an idea. I was so proud. And this, a recommendation letter to attend their high school program. Dr. Reed recommended me too. Dr. Evelyn Reed was now the director of the Canada-Qatar Joint Research Institute, traveling between our two countries. Congratulations. This afternoon we have a special event. It was the 3rd anniversary celebration of Qatar's water technology innovation. The hall was filled with representatives from across the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, Oman. Ladies and gentlemen, the host began. 3 years ago, a dream once thought impossible became a reality. On a large screen, images showed the transformation from barren land to lush oases. Today, Qatar had achieved 100% clean water access nationwide. 500 hydroponic farms were operational, creating 5,000 water-related jobs. Every number was a miracle. Dr. Reed, as the guest of honor, took the stage. Do you remember 3 years ago? A crazy 48-hour challenge. Everyone smiled. We did it. It was a victory for technology and for trust. Then, a surprise announcement. The government of Qatar has decided to provide water technology support to 10 African nations, free of charge. A thunderous applause followed. I took the stage to explain. It is now our turn to share the help we received, just as Canada did for us. And there is more special news, Dr. Reed continued. The International Water Technology Institute, jointly established by Canada and Qatar, will open next year. Young people from all over the world can come to study. Noura's eyes shone. The future she dreamed of was becoming real. After the event, I met old friends. Hamad, we are now an agricultural exporting nation. Harim's farm network had grown to 50 locations, exporting across the Middle East and Asia. Congratulations, it's all because of water. And because of Canada. In the evening, I went back to Al Shamal. It was still 7 years until we were supposed to open the time capsule, but today we were burying a new one. A time capsule for future scientists, Noura had proposed. The villagers gathered. Noura placed her research notebook inside, filled with the imaginative water technologies of a 13-year-old girl. In 20 years, let's see if I've made these dreams a reality. Other children put in their own dreams. I'll be a water robotics engineer. I'll be a desert greening expert. Their dreams had grown so much bigger. In 20 years, you will all be changing the world, Dr. Reed said. When you open this, I hope you remember today. After burying the capsule, Grandpa Hassan, now 98 and still strong, spoke. I have lived for nearly a century. What I have learned is that water is life, and friendship is eternal. Like the friendship Canada and Qatar have shown. On the late-night drive home, Noura asked, Uncle, can I really go to study in Canada? Of course. We will fully support your dream. I want to be like Dr. Reed, a scientist who solves water problems all over the world. You can do it. You've already started. Passing the airport, I saw a new sign. Canada, Qatar Friendship Bridge. A fitting name. When I got home, my wife was waiting. I saw the news. I'm so proud. This is just the beginning. There's so much more to do. Before bed, I looked out the window. Where the first fountain had erupted 3 years ago, there was now a small park named Miracle Garden. My phone buzzed. It was a message from Dr. Reed. A team from Kenya arrives tomorrow. It's time for us to share the miracle we received with them. I replied, we're ready. Let's create a new miracle together. The 48-hour challenge had blossomed into a 3-year success and was now becoming an eternal legacy, spreading outward. The water miracle created by Canada and Qatar was not an ending, but a new beginning. A friendship as clear and eternal as the flowing water.